was the first book you wrote?
First book I wrote was Fast Lane. Actually, it was kind of like, it ain't autobiography, but it was biographical as far as what I do at the time, you know what I mean? But I damn sure was afraid to write a true story at that time.
You did time in Lorton too?
Yeah, I started in Lorton. I was in Lorton from 16 to 20. And then I went to well, we didn't go straight to the feds. I was in transit for like 3 years in private prisons waiting to go to the feds. So I went to Ohio, New Mexico, Arizona. I stayed in Arizona 3 years. And then we went to the feds. So I started in Mexico. New Mexico. Yeah, New Mexico.
What year did Lorton close?
Lorton closed in 2001, but they shipped all of us out in 97 to Ohio. That joint was a war zone.
What, MCC? That's
MCC. Called, they might have changed it in that, but when it first opened, it was a contract with the state of the city of Lorton. So we went to the point called the Northeast Ohio Correctional Center. Okay. It was a CCA. It was a private prison.
That's what I meant to say, CCA.
Yeah, it was CCA. But now I think the feds on it, they might have changed the name or something, but it's still the Northeast Ohio Correctional Center.
Okay. So you said Lorton closed 2001.
Yeah, last people left out 2001.
What I don't know, what inspired you to write Lorton Legends?
What inspired me to write Lorton Legends was that a lot of old timers like my father, for an example, not just them, but my father and other guys like that, they was dying and they don't really talk. And a lot of dudes from that era didn't talk. But you hear it through like word of mouth when you're all around. Right. So I kept hearing all these different stories and all these different things. And my father was getting older, I kind of like, I just wanted to capture it, not necessarily glorify or put it up on no type of level, but it was a part of history that I found that was kind of interesting once I started reading other people's books, like this dude named THRU. You heard him? White guy, I think he used to work for the Washington Post, but he wrote a book called The Hot House. Life Inside Leavenworth.
Oh, I heard Hot House. Yeah,
that's one of the most realistic journalistic accounts of prison. So I read it.
The Hot House.
Yeah. Okay. I read it, and I ain't like the way DC guys was depicted in the book. Right. Now, don't get it twisted. You know, rough dudes or dudes that got some type of sexual deviance in them come from anywhere. California, Texas, right. New York, anywhere.
Right.
But he made a point to make all DC guys in that book look like locker knockers and butthole bandits. Those was the words he used exactly.
Right.
You got far more people, they got different type of lifestyles, even as prisoners in that book. So anyway, that and the whole big story with the ABs and Cadillacs, that is just something that I wanted to write from a DC perspective. So Lorton Legends was the best way I could do it, and I could do it in a fictional way. Right. And that's what really inspired me to do it. Of course, after I started writing it, it became it took on a life of itself.
Right. So when you came through the system, a lot of those guys that was around during the era, you know, the early '80s, the era the AB, DC Blacks War, they were still in the penitentiary, right?
A few of them were. Some of them wasn't the same men no more. What I mean by that, some of them they got old and non-active. Some of them became hot, so their honor was in question and they weren't around us no more. But the ones that were still there, and when I say the ones that were still there, some of these guys still alive, like this dude named Earl Coleman Bate. He like 69, 70 some years old. You know what I mean? But he was definitely around. He was in Leavenworth when the dude T. Early went there.
Right.
So, you know, some of them guys was around, and I just felt like, you know, at that point in time, I ain't have as many books out that I known writer or published author, whatever what you want to say at the time. But I just felt like the story was strong, and I just tried my hand with it. The book didn't even come out for years. I wrote the book. I was still in the feds. I was in Lee County, USP. Mm-hmm. That's 2001. The book ain't come out until 2010.
You self-published?
Lorton Legends, I didn't. Actually, Lorton Legends, I published with DC Book Dealer, so it was actually like a joint venture. I had Fast Lane Entertainment when I came home. DC Book Dealer had a hot publishing company too, and we kind of like did it together. So I co-published it under DC Book Dealer.
Right. I was on my live the other day. I was sharing with my viewers that there's been an outbreak of Instagram pages honoring
outbreak. That's a good word.
That's what it seemed like. They just like at least like
a rash.
Yeah, like 4 of them just came out, and they all dope. I follow all 4 of them. Yeah. Instagram pages, you know, depicting DC culture, the socks, go-go music,
shoes, the whole thing.
Yeah, all of that. You know what I'm saying? Tell me what you think about, you know, the rest of the world kind of like catching up as far as, you know, getting a glimpse of what DC brought to the table from fashion perspective as well as music and shit. Because that's predominantly what's on those pages. Just, you know, yeah.
I mean, it's culture all over, yeah, in them pages. To be honest with you, man, at first I was kind of hating. Because I was like, man, you know, people from other places don't even really respect or dig our culture. So I felt like somebody was being a culture vulture, right?
Right.
But as I started to look back over the different pages, you know, a couple of those pages got some DC, some type of DC content behind it. However, to get to the point to answer the question though, right, after I thought about it for a couple of weeks, I kind of like it now because it's like that if anybody shine light on a culture from a certain type of place, it's going to bring interest of other people to that culture or to that place.
Right.
So that's how I see it now. You know what I mean? At first I just didn't fully understand it. It was almost like it was gimmicky to me.
Right.
But I done changed my view on that. I mean, not by force or nothing either though.
I've seen few pictures you was in on the DC, I think on the DC Blacks page.
Yeah, somebody brought that to my attention. I'm in like 2 or 3 of those pictures.
Explain to me your first time being exposed to exactly who the DC Blacks card was. Go ahead, hold the phone and talk to him.
As far as being exposed to the DC Blacks, I had never heard of no DC Blacks when I was in Lorton, right?
Right.
But I was young and I really wasn't what's the word? I wasn't on a certain type of history. Like I ain't really care what had happened before me at the time I was ignorant. But nevertheless, when I first got to the feds, as soon as I got off the bus, I understood what DC Blacks was because when I got off the bus, I came from Lorton. So I had certain things in my jacket, attempted escape, couple assaults, stuff that will make you what they call in the feds a problem inmate, so to speak. And most of the guys that they put the title DC Blacks on is quote unquote problem inmates because every guy that's black and from Washington, DC ain't a DC Black, and the administration don't call them DC Blacks. Okay. You understand? You got some dudes that's from DC that's black, right?
Right.
They never hung in no hood. They never went to school with these guys over here. They was just, let's call them a square, not to disrespect them. A square, you know what I mean? They straight up really a square. All right, they got caught up and went to jail some type of way. When they get to jail, in jail, they sit back like, I'm not with this, I'm not with that, I'm doing my time, I'm going home. They might even have told on somebody, but we ain't gotta get that far. But they not with it. Then you got guys that'll be like me. Guys that'll be like other notable guys that you even see on that DC Blacks page. Anton White, Sean Branch, E. Gully. There's too many of them to name, right?
Right.
They with whatever. So if I got a problem with the ABs, although that's an extreme problem, those problems will never be no cool problems, I don't think, no time soon anyway. But if I got a problem with ABs, if I got a problem with Miami, if I got a problem with the white boys out of Boston, that's not ABs.
Right.
These guys that's quote unquote called DC Blacks are the guys that's gonna come to your aid because that's where you from. For an example, we could use New York as an example. Right. New York don't got that type of faction or sections in the feds. They just guys from New York unless they call, they don't even put no thing on them unless they call them a Crip, a Blood, a G, some other gang. They don't just be categorized as a gang because they from New York. But a real bona fide New York guy is gonna look out for every other real bona fide New York guy. So that's the same thing with the DC Blacks, but they just turned it into like a demonized type thing after that Cadillac murder because it was a way to house and herd all these problem guys into one jump. Like they locked 400-500 of us down in that work for one time, put us all in the hose, cleaned the whole compound just to DC. They don't do that with nobody else.
I'm saying they said that y'all be flipping institutions over and shit.
I mean, that's what they say. I can't size it up or beat the drum like that's a true bill. I mean, certain things that got done. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Certain things that got done, for an example, like they'd take a bunch of us. When I say a bunch of us, I don't mean just DC guys. I mean Lorton guys. It's a difference.
Right.
Because you got dudes that had way more. What's the difference?
Not to cut you off. A DC guy and a Lorton guy. It's two different things.
It's two different things. Whether do know. For an example. Yeah. So for an example, right? I'm gonna tell you a guy that I met. I'm trying to give you a perfect example, right? A perfect example of what I'm talking about is a perfect example of what I'm talking about is a guy like
I'm gonna use a guy like Cornell Jones. You heard of Cornell Jones?
Yeah,
All right. I don't recall, and I could be wrong, I don't want to act like I know everything, but I don't recall Cornell Jones ever being in Lorton. As far as I know, Cornell Jones was always a federal guy.
Yeah.
I know Cornell Jones personally. He's a mild-mannered guy, very respectable guy, don't get loud.
Yeah.
He's not your typical,
he don't strike me.
he's not none of that, but he's a cold-blooded man.
Yeah.
But he is a federal DC guy. So he got a different style, different persona, different
Right.
criminal history.
Right.
You understand? Even his charges are different.
Right.
So you got a guy, I could use myself. I never had no big federal case. I never had no sophisticated conspiracy or none of that. All my charges was basic, what you would call in another place, state charges. I had robberies and
Blue collar.
stuff like that.
Yeah.
I'm a Lorton dude. I'm a dude that you send down Lorton, and dudes like me go down Lorton, and then they develop this rough demeanor, this rough persona, because Lorton is like, it's a serious jump. You know what I mean? It's not no more serious than other serious jumps like an Angola or an Attica, but Lorton teaches you to be aggressive. You could go to Lorton and you could just be a bona fide man. You're not into showing off. You're not into doing this. And Lorton will make you aggressive. You know what I mean? It's almost like you take your dog, and your dog is housebroken, and you take him to a kennel for a weekend and go out of town. When you come back, your dog jumping up and down, barking and screaming. He done been turned wild. And that's what Lorton do to people. That's a perfect example of it. It's almost like putting your dog in a kennel, man.
So the Lorton guys would be categorized in DC blacks and feds. Mostly.
Nah, once you get to the feds, the feds gonna categorize all of them as that. But I'm just breaking it down for you, the difference, because like in that one book, the guys that they was calling locker knockers in the hot house book, they weren't your regular fed guys. Your fed guys already knew how to get money. They wasn't stealing and robbing.
Yeah.
Dudes got off a bus from Lorton and did what dudes do in Lorton. They gonna rob you. They gonna steal from you. They gonna finesse you.
Yeah.
Whereas though you had other old timers like Earl Coleman Bay and them that had already been in the feds, and they be like, look, that's not what we do. You know, y'all not gonna disrupt this peace that we got with Ohio. Y'all not gonna disrupt this peace that we got with the Boston white boys or the guys out of Baltimore, depending on where you at.
Right.
Them guys gonna tell you, man, leave that Lorton shit in Lorton.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to break it down for you.
No doubt. So, okay. So you writing books now. How many books have you authored?
Under my name, I got like 10.
That's incredible, rather.
Man, I appreciate that.
Most of the criteria that these stories derive from were real life or
it's kind of like Don Devan.
took characters from some of the guys you did time with and made them characters in a book.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, for Lorton Legends, for Fast Lane, that was my first book. I ain't really know a whole lot about writing. By the time I wrote Lorton Legends, I had started reading material on writing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, Fast Lane would be almost like what you would consider in the rap world just a mixtape of freestyle.
Okay.
I just remember the 80s and 90s, and I was in a cell, and I started writing, and when I finished it, I edited it for it to be a book.
Okay.
But by the time I got to other books past that, like Money Ain't Everything, that's based on a true story. Lorton Legends, I really use writing things like antagonist, protagonist, beginning, middle, end, conflict, action, resolution, things that you don't do when you just writing a story. I started to study writing.
Got you.
You know what I mean? So like it kind of like got different for me then.
All right. Have you thought about bringing any of those books to life, putting them on film?
We got a short film called Secrets Never Die. It's based on a book that I wrote called Secrets Never Die, and it won a Vanguard Honors Award in 2016 at the Toronto Film Fest. So everything we've been doing lately been geared toward transitioning to film.
Right. Okay. Throughout, how much tape did you say you did?
I did 17 years.
17 years. In that 17 years, give me some name one of the guys that you walked the track with from DC.
Man, I'm gonna start with dudes my age because your peers are the first guys you really meet. Yeah. So you know what I mean. My peers, it's definitely gonna be a brother named Mustafa Zulu, aka Andre Brown. That was my co-defendant. We actually had tried to escape when we was juveniles, and that's how we got so tight. Okay. But Dominique Stewart, he charged with the second murder in ADX history. You know what I mean. He was 17, we was 16. Raphael Parker, big name, juvenile, came out the juvenile block, went to the feds. Everybody know him. Who else was in it with us? They got a name. A couple big names came out of there through the years out that juvenile block. But in that same block that we was in, because the juveniles used to be housed in North 1 over DC jail. Mm-hmm. North 1 was an administrative lockdown type of block. So in that same block, you had Sean Branch. Sean Branch was suspect in multiple murders at the time, one of the most vicious niggas in the city, according to the Washington Post and DC police and this and that. Right. Had Wayne Perry in that same block. Had a dude named Marky Hall that was Newton Street.
You said
Big
Marky?
Yeah, he was in that same block with us.
He's in some of those pictures on the
DC. Yeah, a bona fide official dude. Had 2 life sentences, never told, never said nothing, gave the life sentences back the right way, came home.
Okay.
You know what I mean? That's just a few now. That's just where we started at, in the jail. Now in the feds, I met everybody. Butch Woods, he was around when Cadillac was around. Nate Bailey, hell of a dude, was around when Cadillac and it was around. Fly, him and my father used to be together. Fly got one of the biggest cases out of Lorton ever. You know what I mean? They tried to
Fly Gaffney.
Yeah, Keith Gaffney Bay. Now his name is Mujahid.
Yeah,
I forgot the exact name, but I always forget it. But everybody know Fly by Fly. That's Fly. And that's just the name of few, but it's too many to name. I'm trying to name some people who did some things. I'm gonna tell you some other people that's just not even from DC that had good names, man, that affected me doing my bid. Like Tut. I seen you had a picture of Tut. Me and Tut was in the penitentiary together. Me and Tut always had a
East New York.
Yeah, me and him always had a good relationship. The other boy out of
what jail you was in with Tut?
Lee County.
Okay.
Lee Vicious Jones. Level 6, level 8, whatever the biggest
type of convict was. Cool nigga.
Leader, smart, shrewd, quiet, premeditating, calculated, not loud, not boisterous, not telegraphing nothing.
Right.
Don't even represent. He not no poster boy for a gangster. You know what I mean? Bona fide gangster, but gangster ain't gonna beat what he wear on his hat. Right. Or what he wear on his sleeve.
You wouldn't even know it.
That's my opinion. But I done been in Jonesboro.
The same way, real
smooth. Yeah, but most dudes that I knew that was that age, because he's a couple years older than me, most dudes that I knew that was that age that was worth their weight in gold and on some thorough stuff, it wasn't in the talking, it wasn't about beating no drum.
Right.
You know what I mean? But those guys right there, I mean, there's a ton of other guys, but those are some of the guys that come to my mind off the top when you ask me that type of question.
Do you remember any prison basketball stars when you were doing your time?
They got a hell of a prison basketball star out of Lorton. Nigga, dude name was Purple. Dude named Seth Ferranti used to write basketball articles.
Oh, Seth, yeah.
Seth wrote about him. Man, Michael Jordan of the prison system.
What was his name?
Purple. That's all I know. I don't even know his government.
Where was he from?
DC. I don't know what part of town or nothing. Like, I never met him. Like, he really a legend to the point that I just heard of him as I never met him.
He's just killing niggas.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I'm thinking just dogging him on the basketball court. Now, that's a big time legend. I think anybody from DC that know their history, Lorton, heard of Purple. I don't know if Fed dudes heard of him. I don't know if dudes that never been to jail heard of him, but Purple might be one of the biggest basketball names that you're going to hear out of Lorton. But then there was other notable guys like this guy named Wink. He scored something like 100-some points in the basketball game. Those are the only ones I could think that got big names. There's a bunch of other people like Robert Lane. They call him Fighter Lane, one of the best basketball players. A dude named Steve Brooks. Call him Slash.
Right.
Them notoriety to some of the top names. But keep in mind, when I was in Lorton, I was in maximum security. So I was in the wall. Okay. You ain't have a whole lot of ball players in the cell blocks. They was in 7 block or they was on the hill, which was overpopulation. Purple was on the hill.
Right.
So I heard his name through that. I never even played basketball in the gym when I was in the wall because we never got out our cells. Right. We only got out our cells Monday, Wednesday, and Friday for an hour. So we played basketball blacktop. But your fly, fancy people who could have went to college or went to the pro, they wasn't there. They was on the open compound somewhere. But Purple, if I had to name a name, it would definitely be Purple. Yeah, check him out. Seth wrote some articles about him on like hoops.com. And if you Google Purple and Seth together, and you'll find out who this guy I'm talking about.
All right. What's the name of some of the platforms where your books are available at? We're gonna go downstairs and have us a drink.
Definitely Amazon.com. You can get any Eyone Williams book off Amazon.com.
Pronounce your name, spell it out for them so they can keep up with you and shit.
My name is Eyone, Eyone, pronounced like Dion with an E, Eyone Williams, and Uptown Eyone, that's my Instagram, and Eyone Williams books. You can just Google them and all the books come up, even ones that I don't have my name on. If you Google it, if I publish it or have something to do with it, I see that they still come up.
Right. Let me ask you something. I noticed, I didn't notice. Rayful Edmonds has a stigma attached to his name for whatever reason. We don't put it like that, for whatever reason. but it seems like nobody ever eclipsed him in terms of legendary status in DC.
You talking about money or you talking about reputation for real?
Both of them.
I mean, his reputation is not no reputation that has no long-lasting honor or integrity with it. So we could scratch reputation out of it. Okay. You know, his reputation now will only consist of that he made a lot of money. He don't have no reputation of honor or thoroughness no more because of what he done. And that's only among people in the subculture that I live in.
Okay.
However, made a lot of money, had a big connect, everybody know that. You know what I'm saying? But there are guys that don't have that notoriety that have had big cases. Me and you talked about Linwood Gray before. Linwood Gray had the biggest case at the time ever, the Amsterdam Connect. Rafe Webber wasn't going out the country getting that. He met a guy from California that had a connect and blase. That ain't me shitting on him because he a rat.
Right.
That's the facts. If you look Linwood Gray up for an example, if you could find a Washingtonian article on Linwood Gray, it's like 30 pages. The man had a real bona fide Corsican Frank Matthews type connect. So, you know, I know guys talk about Ray this or Ray that. At his time, that was a lot of stuff that was going on, but it's plenty of people that had bigger cases. It's another rat out of DC. Well, I ain't gonna say out of DC because somebody said he was from somewhere else before, and then he came here and was here. But all I know of him from is being here. And his name was Lawrence Slippery Jackson. Check him out. Had the biggest case and ran the biggest crew, according to the feds, not according to me or to the streets. Right. According to the feds, he had a 300-man crew connected to the Genovese family out of Washington, D.C. So Rafe Webman is going to be minuscule to some of these guys if you really do your research.
Right.
Now, if you out to paid in full earn and all your information come from a movie, then Rafe Webman is going to be the biggest name. But of course, I'm 40-something years old. It was names that was way bigger than Rayful at the time. Rayful Webman went to jail at 22 years old. He's still a kid. Right. Frey was like 35 at the time.
Frey?
Yeah. You know, these grown-ass men have been in jail 2-3 times. You know what I'm saying? And if we want to talk about Rayful Webman, and I ain't got no problem saying this, Rayful Webman went to jail in 89. So that means he had like a 2-year run of getting keys upon keys. We talking about other dudes that we talking about had 10-year runs, 15-year runs.
His run was 2 years?
Man, the big run is from something like 86 to 89.
Yeah.
So we might could give him an extra year, but if you calculate the Sugar Ray Leonard fight when they supposedly met Melvin Butler, calculate the time.
Right.
You say he the biggest man out of the town been a part of, had a drug crime underworld since something like the 30s and 40s when they had Irish and Jewish gangsters running the number racket in Washington, D.C. Right. People that don't nobody even know about.
Right.
Yeah. You know what I mean? But that, you know, that's a whole other conversation. But Washington, D.C. in itself is a unique place for anything, whether it be crime or anything.
Somebody got a question for you.
I ain't seen it.
Give you a little feedback to the audience and shit, but pick your brain a little bit.
Mm-hmm. But like I said, with those things, they you know, a person can say, oh, sure, he don't know what he's talking about. You could Google everything I'm talking about. That's what I do.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And not only that, I talk about with old timers, and they'll bring me up to speed on somebody I may not be hip to, like Dump Truck Smitty, for an example. He had a big drug case back in the day when Cornell Jones and them had cases. But if you look him up, he really wasn't even from here. He was from Richmond.
Right.
You know what I mean? So if you do the history on the record, that stuff is a whole lot of stuff that just happened in Washington. I missed whatever. Was that the question at the bottom?
Yeah, it's gonna pop up again. Give you another shot.
All right, that's a point. But yeah, check him out though. If he didn't tell, he might have been one of the biggest ones out of the town though.
Comments coming through slow. Don't put positivity so high up and shit.
Yeah, sometimes this spot will be at it. Be like
hit him
that.
with your Instagram.
Uptown Eyone. Uptown Eyone. Uptown Eyone on Instagram. That's my Instagram page.
Can they cop books there or they gotta go to Amazon?
I mean, you could contact me through Instagram, and I could get you a book personally to mail it to you. But get your book fast, you have to go to a bookstore, go to Amazon. Right, that would be the best way.
There you go.
Yeah, and how you feel about DC now as far as black men compared to the dudes 38 and up, Frey First and Brian Street? Yeah. I mean, I love DC. I'm a set tripper. You know what I mean? I like my spot and where I'm from more than I like any place or any day. Well, I mean, I'm from uptown, 5th Street. Okay. You know what I mean? Northwest, but I done been all over the city. Like, for an example, even after that, like, I done lived different places. I done lived on Allison Street, that's still Northwest. I done lived in Langdon Park, Northeast. You know what I'm saying? I done hung in different places. I done hung on Kennedy Street. I done hung on Crittenden Street, all these.
You know them over there? You know the twins?
Yeah, them my big homies.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, I grew up under them. They 4-5 years older than me.
Developed a relationship with Kareem.
Yeah, that's my name, man. We done time together, too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? All us went to Coolidge. You know what I'm saying? All us went to Lorton. All us went to the Feds.
All right.
And whatnot.
That's Eyone Williams, man, one of the top-notch black authors, man, putting out that good urban media and shit, man. We trying to figure out a way to put together a black urban media mob and shit. All niggas that look just like us. Dig, putting out films, books, magazines, music. Y'all subscribe to the channel, The Real Gully TV. Hit the button.
Gully TV.
Hit the bell. You dig? Hit the bell and shit so y'all get the...
I had this shirt on by accident. I didn't even mean to promote that.
Oh, that's Sean Branch. Shout out to Sean Branch and shit.
Just moving it.
Yeah, Teflon Sports. Sean, you got to come drop me something off, man. You running the sports apparel line, man. Yeah, we about to get to work, and we're going to tap back in, man. The dribble is in the building. Shout out to the whole DMV. I'm up out of here.